It was just like, it was like a person, but there were no feet or hands.
Can you tell me what your general occupation is?
I am a truck driver.
Okay, how long have you been doing that?
About 16 years.
Do you wear eyeglasses or corrective lenses?
No. I had laser surgery about 20 years ago. Very good vision. I get my eyes checked every year.
This sighting occurred in Clark County, Ohio, is that correct?
Yes.
And this was June 11th, 2018, is that correct?
Yes.
And could you tell me the time, approximate time that this occurred?
It was 5:03 a.m. I was heading to work morning, June 11th, 2018, rural subdivision area, low traffic, pulling out my driveway, went down the street, turned left at the stop sign. As I turned left, from there, very short distance, I noticed something running from my right to my left. As I got to my headlights, it was a brighter white, very bright, white only. Ran very fast, covering probably close to 100 yards in 3 to 4 seconds. It had a long abdomen, a long head. I believe it didn't look like a neck, it was a long top head. Ran like a person. The legs and arms were equal size. Did not see feet or hands. It ran past a stop sign as it went by and was a little bit shorter than the stop sign. Got brighter as it was in my headlights. Faded out, not as bright as it went by. It had rained 2 days, the day before and the day before that, so the road was a little damp and the grass was wet, so as it went by up in the grass into it, behind a pine tree as I was turning right onto the road, it ran down. I could see it behind the tree as I was turning, looked over at it, startled obviously, not really staring to get a good look, but I drove by and did look over there. As I turned by to head on that road it came from, looked in the rearview mirror, I didn't see anything. My first thought as it started happening was the car might have been behind me. Out where I live in the country, there's very few cars on the road that time of day. It would have had to have been behind me. I did not see any. There was no car. There was no cars on the road anywhere. No reflections anywhere. Went to work that day. As I came home, I came back the same path, the only way into the subdivision. As I came to that stop sign, I looked up where it had run, and there were long, almost like footprints where the grass had been pushed down and drug. Maybe 3 or 4 or 5, maybe, footprints. As I drove by, I looked at that.
What's the prevalence of wildlife in that area, like deer, raccoon? I know I live in a south of a suburban area out in the country, and we do have deer, and we have raccoons, and we have all sorts of stuff that crosses the road all hours of the day and night. And what are the prevalence of wildlife coming into that area specifically?
I've seen a few deer in the subdivision. Trash cans have been knocked over by raccoons in the past, but I've never seen any around. I do hear coyote, mostly in the fall, in the winter, but that's about it really. Nothing really more than that.
Have you ever, has any of the other neighbors spoken about seeing something strange like this?
You know, there's a couple that I do know. You know, one of them I did say something to, and he didn't really say anything about it. He just never seen anything like that.
What is it What do you think you saw? I mean, do you have any ideas? I mean,
I don't know. I've looked online for stuff like that, and the closest thing I can see that somewhat resembles it is those little stick figure things out like in California and Arizona.
night crawlers.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that kind of resembles with the color, but I mean, those just have like they don't look normal. This thing almost looked like a person running. That's the closest thing I can say resembles it. I mean, I don't even know, because I've been looking all over trying to find something, figuring out what it is, but I can't.
And it was
yeah,
like
I don't know.
a person running, and would you describe them as just completely unnaturally thin?
Like a stick figure. I mean, it ran by the stop sign. There's a stop sign there, and it was like pretty close to the same width as a stop sign.
Oh,
and just a little bit shorter. And it's like the abdomen and the head, there really wasn't a neck. The abdomen and head were long, like longer than a person would be. And really the arms running and legs were about the same length. I mean, they were really short. Not really short, but I mean, shorter proportionally than a person would be.
Now, when this thing ran, did it run like a person, or did it have a different gait? Okay.
It was just like, it was like a person, but there were no feet or hands, or, you know, the head was just really long.
Was there any facial features on this thing?
No, it was white, and as it ran past my headlights, it was brighter. It was like and once I realized, you know, when I saw it, when it went past it, it wasn't as bright, but it was still white and ran behind a pine tree actually and stopped. And like, as I was going by it, I could see it was kind of like still there behind the tree. That's when I was the closest to it, and as I drove away, I didn't see anything.
Okay, there was no eyes that you could tell. No.
None of that.
When you say the head was longer, was the head generally shaped like a person's head, or was it just kind of a long oval, or
I would describe it more like a pencil. The whole thing. I mean, it was like body, head. I mean, they were all just straight lines, and I didn't see a head. My first impression was, you know, like if you're sitting in a house and the car drives by and you see that light go by in your house, or somebody drives behind you and turns. My first thought was I glanced in my rearview mirror thinking it was crazy to see a car out this time of day, because it just, you know, went by like that reflection would go by. You know, obviously, I mean, there was no car back there, but it just, again, moved like that, just straight. I was expecting to see a car behind me and kind of in disbelief of what the heck I just saw.
So is that why you remember there was no other traffic? It's because you checked because you saw that creature. At first you thought the thing, the whatever it is, was a flash from another car's headlights.
It was like in between, like as I noticed it, it was going, and it got brighter as it got in front of my headlights, and as it was going by, I looked up in my rearview mirror real quick, because where we live, there's no traffic at all. I mean, I'm actually sitting in my driveway right now. I just pulled in, and there's no cars around, especially at that time of the morning. That's why it kind of caught me off guard. I glanced in my mirror thinking, that's weird because it would have had been a car turn exactly the way I just did to be the headlights like that would have gone that direction. I wasn't like scared, but my first thought was like, is that like a person as something else? I mean, that was my thought was like, it's almost, you know, like when it ran behind the tree, it, you know, I was like thinking, because I could almost see it like peeking through the tree as I was turning right. It was, and the tree's right there. It was like, is that a person? Or, well, I think I'm crazy, but
you're not alone. A lot of people see weird things.